Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Patricia Jo Grover Show, where we turn believers into achievers. And today, my guest is all the way from Australia. This is Annie Gibbins. And Annie, let me tell you a little bit about her. She is an internationally recognized CEO, speaker, and transformational growth specialist, author, podcast host, and the founder of the Lipstick Consulting. Through her online magic transformation program, Annie helps business women globally achieve success, balance, and happiness by calling out limiting beliefs, clarifying purpose, and constructing strong business practices to grow and succeed. So, welcome to the show, Annie.
Thank you so much, Patricia. It's wonderful to be here.
Yes, and as we were saying earlier, you and I do a lot of the same things, but we're just on totally ends of the world. So this is
Exactly.
right, and it's exciting. Touching people's lives all over the world is coming from a place of service is such a fabulous thing to do. I find it extremely rewarding, and I'm sure you do too.
Oh, absolutely. I love every day. I love sharing with women globally, and I actually just love their wins. I love them celebrating their successes. I love the smiles on their faces. They get those aha moments or those big excitable achievements as they achieve their goals. So it's really positive.
Exactly, fabulous. So I'm going to eat up and love getting the information of what you do, and to me, again, everything is a win-win. I want to learn. I'm forever learning, and
Yeah.
I want to, because the thing is, things change with the world daily. I mean, and every minute there's always negativity, and that's the thing with what we can balance out with positive and things that we learn to be able to move forward for every single one of us is a benefit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what are the primary ingredients that you say are to building a business and life that you love?
I think the primary ingredients for me and the women that I work with are to get that right balance of success, balance, and happiness. I think a lot of the time we have these views of what success is, and the success factors are what society might have put for us, or our family want for us, or what we think success resembles. But it's often it's not that. For me, I work with a lot of people who are for purpose. They want to follow their purpose or their passion, and they want to get really excited about that. And so success will actually I like it to be determined by them. What does success look like for them?
Exactly.
Also, I work with a lot of mums who are just busily juggling family, children's, husbands, partners, life, and so it's all about getting that balance right as well, and then that will then bring them to a happiness which is sustainable. When you've got that inner joy about what you're doing and how you're sort of balancing it all, I think you're in a really great position to then grow your business, whether it's in a career, or you're becoming an entrepreneur, you're setting up a charity, whatever that sort of sector is for you. I think you're positioned really well to be able to take bold steps, to challenge yourself, to sort of be okay with some failures, to embrace the learning, because you've got a lot more sort of framework happening for you.
Exactly, and that's what I teach as well. My initials are PJG, and I chose a long time ago. I chose to live my life purposely, joyfully, and gratefully. And to me,
Mhm.
that's the trifecta of perfect for me.
Yeah.
And when you can have that balance, you have that sense of calm.
Yes.
Things there's less of those triggers or things that will set you off and take you off track.
Mm.
And I wish I could spread that over the world, and that's my mission, actually. So we're
Yeah.
wonderful. um and what you said too about success looks different or is different to every single person. Some people it's having uh, some kind of title or whatever attached to their name. Some people it's having so much money in the bank account. We're all different, but for each individual, it's to determine what that is for them and what that means. So
Yeah.
I totally agree with that.
Yeah, and a lot of people haven't unpacked that for themselves. I think a lot of people just sort of go, oh, I've got to do the next step, the next step, the next step, but they're not really knowing, well, what is that next step? And is that actually going to lead to what you would determine success, right? So, and for myself, I was a mum of five, including two sets of twins,
Oh,
so
wow.
now, yeah, I know, right? So
Yeah.
I had 4 kids in 2 years. And so when I had these initial views of, I remember being, 16, 17, thinking, I want to be a businesswoman. And then suddenly by 25, I had these 4 babies. And it's like, well, how are you going to do that? And then I went, oh, and I remember having that feeling like, oh, I won't be successful. I won't, because I had this view
Right.
of what success was, and I think so many women have that, that you're just like, well, that's right. Is it the title? Is it the CEO of the business? Is it the managing director? Is it owning your own company? Is it a
Right.
certain amount of revenue coming in? What is it? And so sometimes it can be from those sort of views that you've formed or your family have put on you, or the expectations, that, for me, it was actually, yeah, growing through that, navigating and following a path that will actually make me feel very successful. And it takes the pressure off you. I think you mentioned before, Patricia, that sense of calm,
Yes.
that is so important. When you're actually, my 3 words personally are uh, purpose, passion, and power. And so when you have that, passion that fuels your purpose, right? It is very
Exactly.
empowering.
Yes.
And then it will bring you this calm, because you go, I'm so focused on what I do. I've got such, inner drive, and I know it's the right thing for me. So it is very empowering, and it's also very calming,
Yes.
So I think that's super exciting to get into that space.
Yes, and fabulous, and something you just pointed out and mentioned too is what we think in our minds of what things should be successful. What success is, and I talk a lot and I work with belief windows, and
Yeah.
there are those windows that we are looking out of, and again, it could be something that we were exposed to as children, those limiting beliefs, or or what we've been told, or what we should be expecting things to be. But
Yes.
the thing is, that's not necessarily true, and we have to build our own, what we are seeing out those windows, and not just say, okay, the blinders don't have to be on. The life is so much bigger and has so much more available to you,
Oh,
and
absolutely.
yeah,
Life is limitless, that's right. Once we get this fixed mindset, everything then just narrows, whereas once the blinkers come off, and, that's right, your window just opens,
yes,
right? Even just us stuck in a room with a window, it's like there is no limit. And so you then get a narrative in your mind, which takes a while. And, but once you get that, you go, oh my gosh, all things are possible,
yes.
right?
Isn't
It's
that
just that
exciting?
curiosity just gets released, and you go, oh, I could try this and I could try that. And so nothing then seems bad, because it's all an opportunity, rather than, this, oh, that's not going to work now, all
Right.
those negative, those can't statements, can't, won't, whatever. Then everything's like, oh, well, I'll just try a different room.
Right, right. And Annie, I don't know about you, but I've come to a point in my life, and with what I do with people, I have this total feeling of, I want to have as few could have, should have, or would have moments in my life.
Yes.
And when you're older and you sit around and you're talking to your grandchildren, great grandchildren, to be able to tell them all these stories of these
Yes.
wonderful things, and things are like, oh wow, you did this, or whatever like that, rather than, oh, I wish I would have done this. Maybe I should. I want to have as few of those could have, should have, and would have moments.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'd rather go, Nana went crazy. I know. I did this and I did that. And they'll be like, wow, you go, girl.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
Exactly.
And that's what I do with and I know you do too. I encourage, I educate, and I empower people to live their life to the fullest. So
Yes.
that brings me to the next question, that I had for you, is, what are the main challenges you think people have to achieving their full potential?
I think the biggest challenge is actually just belief. You will only achieve what you believe, right? And so if you don't believe something is possible, you actually never achieve it. And I have to be really frank, until you change your mindset to actually go, I want this, but I believe I will get it. Right. I believe I'll achieve it. I believe it's possible, right?
Right.
As soon as you change that and you go, I believe it, then you're on your way. So I think that is, yes, we do need support systems, and we need mentors, and we need coaching and frameworks and systems and all of that. I can get in most coaching
exactly.
programs. Yeah. But the biggest stumbling block is, one, belief that something is possible, and then two, it's also cutting the anchors of limiting beliefs. So it's belief for the future possibility, and it's releasing the anchors which are a negative on your mindset, which are always turning you. If you're always turning your mind back, well, you won't be going forward competently, in a graceful way and with speed. You'll always be jarring back. And so, but when you've actually don't have those limiting beliefs, you've cut them, you've addressed them, you've clarified your purpose, you're passionate about it, your mindset and all of your view is forward momentum, and it's also wide, whereas if you're attached to an anchor, it's narrow. And so I think they're the biggest things for me.
Exactly. And this is a perfect match, because again, you and I are doing so much of the same thing, and having you on my show, because on my show I say we turn believers into achievers. It's all about having that belief. It's all about having that belief. I ask that my guests that I have on, that they share something that they may have struggled with in their life or business and how they made it through, because that's empowering for everybody to know that you're not alone. Other people struggle. So, and also people that can be on my show that have a product or service that is able to help somebody move forward, and that's what it is all about. But I totally agree with you 100%. Is the most important thing is for somebody to believe that they are worthy and that they are capable. Again, they may need mentoring, they may need a support system. There's other things that come in, and those different pieces of the puzzle that to put together that strong framework. But still, it's got to start there, and it's got to start from inside of them. I have people, and you know as well as I do, when you work with clients or even family members, that you see in them more than they see in themselves at this point. And you want more for them than they may choose to want for themselves at this point. So that's the struggle. The struggle is for people to know that they're worthy and know that they're capable. And I'm here and you're there saying, hey, you know what? You're not in this alone. So thank you. That you're helping me spread this message. And again, there's so many people out there right now that need to know this. And so.
Yeah, I think you do. And I mean, I can happily share. I've had so many challenging experiences, particularly, as you know, I've shared, I had two sets of twins, and that view I was mentioning before when I went, well, I want to be a businesswoman, and now how am I going to do that now? I suddenly went, I've got four babies, and then I went, okay, well, and I'd originally done nursing, and I went, okay, well, how am I going to get from nursing to business? And I think that's a lot of people sort of go, oh, I'm in this stage, I can't do anything about it. Or, I've just met, some people, they're so inspirational, but it's not achievable. I don't have this, it seems like such a massive link. And my lesson to those listening is that, what did I do? I went and did stepping stones, around what I could. So I then I went from nursing to education. I did an education degree and I became a head teacher of nursing. So that then gave me the management experience. And then from there, I then went, okay, well, I love the learning, and I also love the escape from the children going off to university, right? And so I then went and did a master's of education, which then allowed me other opportunities, which I never would have dreamt of. And I was suddenly national manager for orthopedic surgeons, and all my nursing teacher friends were like, how did you get that job? Because I was the mum of, I had 5 kids by then. And then they're like, how did you do that? And I'm like going, chip away, way, right? I'm not superwoman, but I am actually super focused because that vision, that mindset. And so I'm like, okay, I'll do it. Even if I can't do it full time, I can do it part time. I can do a subject, a term. And then, all those years went by and I did it. And then that opportunity then went, and then I had a change of CEO and I'm like, and I didn't like the new one. I'm like, well, how hard is it then to become a CEO? And I had this light bulb moment, Patricia, of saying, oh my gosh, what does it take to do that? So then I went off and did some other business stuff. And anyway, and then I went for a job. And this is an interesting learning for your listeners too. I went for this one CEO job and I got it. And it was amazing. And I'm like, who goes for one and gets it? Everyone was like, are you serious? Do they know that you don't know how to do this job? Anyway, I did do it for 5 years. And it was amazing. And then I'm like, how hard can it be? My next CEO job, I've seriously put in like 100 applications. And I'm like, what is wrong with me? Now I have all the experience.
Right.
Before I had none. So sometimes the lesson in this is, there's many lessons, but one of the big ones is sometimes it's timing. It's not actually you.
Exactly.
Nothing was, I was actually in a much better position the second time around. But for whatever reason, I learned from the application, was that wrong? Was it the interview experience? Was it because female? Was it whatever? Why were they better than me? I just kept learning because I'd gone up another level. Plus it was a very competitive, saturated market, The other lesson in this story is that, success didn't happen overnight.
No.
For me, it was like a 6-year journey from having those 4 babies to then doing these qualifications that was going to set me up. And then since then, now I've been a CEO, in multiple companies for, 12 years.
Right.
But so it's worth it,
Exactly.
It's that, what do I do when I'm stuck? I just go, I can't do the full thing. So just chip away.
Exactly.
It's all about knowing, but go in the right direction.
Exactly. Positive steps, no matter how big or how small, in that positive direction. And one of the things I got from the story, Annie, that you just shared is, okay, you have to know where you are. So you have to know, do you need more education in something? And this is what I work with people too. You have to really know where you are. You got to know what your strengths are, your weaknesses, your opportunities and your threats, those SWOT analysis, because you have to know, because you're creating your toolbox for this journey.
Yes.
So you have that, but then you have to have the curiosity and the dream to be, and allow yourself to dream and want to. With 4 kids, you want to be able to do that. That was a big dream, but you have to allow yourself to do that. And then it's not a straight line from here to here. It's not a straight line. You're going to have roadblocks. You're going to have detours, roads closed. Stuff is going to happen, sicknesses in families, there's all the different things. So you have to make adjustments to your milestones aren't going to be exactly where you think or plan for them to be. And that's why I teach the smarter plan. Everybody's heard of the SMART plan, but I use a smarter plan because it has to be editable and revisable, because life happens to every single one of us, whether we're ready for it or not.
So there's no roadmap on it, and we're all different. This is it. I mean, I work with thousands of women over the years, and I tell you what, they all go, but what's your experience? And I'll share my entire life, and I'm happy to do so. But you know what? We're all so unique. I mean, I've had different things. Accidents happen with children, illnesses, people dying. I had 6 women die that I knew with breast cancer, like within about 2 years. Like crazy stuff happening. But then another woman will have their stories, and this, that, we've all got these unique journeys. Exactly. And so with that, it's important to know that. And that's why I love being in our position, that we can actually share real life, because you've got to keep it real. Those people who make it look like, oh my gosh, that's true. If I was male and I didn't have 2 sets of twins, I didn't have my 5 children, I probably could have just gone and done an MBA out of school and done business. But, do I then go, oh, woe is me? No, you just go, I love my gorgeous hubby. I love my babies. I love being a mum. I loved that time. And did it add challenges? Yes. But what can I do that will bring me forward on this path, and then ride the all of the drama that is life,
It
which
is
we
life.
all have. And
Yes.
then it's really, I think one of the words that comes up to me often is permission. We need to give ourselves permission to actually just go with the flow, rather than this resistance. I think when we resist it, going, but I have to get there, I have to get there, I have to be whatever, this pressure, it means that we're often not content and we don't stop to smell the roses that we have, or also absorb and process the challenges. And it's really important to do them as well, the
Right.
highs and the
Right.
lows. But then while we're chipping away, we'll still get to the destination.
Right, exactly, exactly. And that brings me to different ways for us to learn to appreciate where we are and what we have done.
Yeah.
Is we set those plans, but also keep, and I teach people, and it's a lot about organization, is
Yes.
because I have a planning system that's coming out that works along with my book, that
Great.
that helps people, because the book is Design Your Destiny, and we all know the choices and decisions we make are that's our destiny. They design our destiny. And whether to have the planning system. So if you have a planning day once a week, once a month, and you set with those, you can tell when you're getting off track, what you need to adjust to get back on track. But
Yes.
also, you need to put in for your planning, you have to put in celebrations of those milestones, because
Oh, yes.
you have to put
You
in
you
put in
gotta
the
have little mini bliss bloms all the time. Like,
exactly.
that's right.
You know,
Celebrate everything.
but budget money for that. Budget money for your celebrations. Budget time. Hey, I'm going to take this week off to do this. So those things, because we all need to have that to help us keep our strength and power to do the rest of the journey. So
Yes.
fantastic. Awesome.
I think that's such a good point, Patricia, because I think that's one of the stumbling blocks. I find people don't want to. They'll celebrate when they get the full win, right?
Right.
And that full win can take years. Like,
Exactly.
it's a long time between parties, right?
Right,
So
exactly. And somebody
yeah,
hearing the story, just like you, I mean, and again, every single one of us have stories. My clients all have stories. I have stories. The thing is, though, we have to have that fuel to continue forward, and to have, when you celebrate those small wins, that just keeps you, and that keeps your joy, that keeps your joy level balanced,
oh,
and in appreciating
yeah,
your family. And again, when I talk about this with scheduling and the organization of that, you know your family's, whether it be an anniversary, a child's birthday, you when you look back, and if you've missed something of one of your
oh,
family, oh, doesn't that you
kills me. I still do that. I have still one of my daughters. I had a job, and I had to go to Singapore for this thing, and at the time I'm like, I can't not. Like, I have to go. I have to go. And she's like, and she had a university graduation.
oh,
And like, all out of all of them, I mean, I've had so many with 5 children. I've
right,
had so
right,
many every
exactly,
day.
yeah, I
And
can
I'm
only
like,
imagine.
it's only one day, like, but it's a big day. And her dad was going, and her brothers, and blah, 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 blah. But I still, like, it's like 6 years later now, she's 27. I'm like, I still can't believe it. What could have been that important, And
Right.
even now I've moved on from that role and whatever. And you kind of go, absolutely, you know what? Those moments, and that's where it's unpacking what you value,
Exactly,
And at the
exactly.
time I was still going, but I want the next level, whatever. And that's what I was sharing before, that you go, it's so important to actually stop and pause and enjoy the moments while you're going,
Right,
not just the big goals.
right.
It's actually,
So
because
that's where I'm saying, with choosing to live life joyfully. And it may be
yeah,
because getting to a point in age where you say, hey, it's not worth it to miss out on things like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've got women who've just changed, what works for different women. I've got some who will work longer days for a few days so that they can have a day off, and get things done. They'll even have less money and work 4 days and have a Wednesday. One of them calls it Wellness Wednesday.
Yeah.
She goes, you know what, for my emotional state, what I can achieve, whatever, it's worth it. It's actually knowing what works for you. Or the other thing, like if you're going to do it all, then outsource. If you've got that
Exactly.
revenue coming in, outsource and just focus on the things you love. We've all got little tricks
Yeah.
that we do to make it all go. And we should, because the more time we spend doing our high value items, I'll call them, and you can get rid of the ones that just wear you down.
Yes.
That's the goal, isn't it? You want
Yes.
to be in your happy place more often. Yeah.
Yes. And with my planning system, you're going to love this. I
I
have,
love
the A, B, C's and 1, 2, 3s. Okay. Your A is absolutely have to do. Your B, you
Yeah.
got to do. Your C, it's got to get done, but your D is delegate. Delegate. Okay.
Yes.
And your E is eliminate. If it's,
Mm,
if, so going through with doing that for prioritizing. Okay. Then you
yeah.
have to synchronize, meaning in what order those things have to happen. And then you've
Mm,
got your 1, 2, 3 of each of your A's, your B's, your C's, and then plug it into your calendar. You
yes.
will find, you will find. I know it seems scary to really sit down and do that, but you will find you will make so much more progress, people.
Oh,
I have to tell you, for many years, I made it forward. I made it forward, but until I really plugged those things in and started working like that, I made so much more progress by being organized like that. So,
look, we're soul sisters. I can see, Patricia.
yes,
I fall
exactly.
into the planners, and it is true. I remember when I first started on that journey and thinking, I don't have time to be writing this planner and assessing and monitoring it. Because you feel like, oh, it's a waste of time. It's completely the opposite. Once you get
Exactly.
a framework in
Exactly.
place, you suddenly just go, oh, why would I bother with the E? Because it's just so unnecessary, because you actually visually see what you want to actually be spending your time on, and then that frees you up, because you've got more time and money usually.
Exactly.
You will people think they'll lose money by doing that, but you actually have more energy, more time to focus on it. And if you're doing that in the right space with the right tools, you will actually be blessed in that way,
Yes.
for sure.
Yes. Oh, yes. So,
Yes.
so, so
You'll
true.
also get to assess and monitor,
Yes.
and that's what we were touching on before, by having those regular check-ins,
Yes.
and so whether it's your monthly check-in, quarterly, whatever, once you've actually got it out in this way, then it's not onerous, but you can just see things. You can see what your measurables are without waiting till crash landing.
Exactly. And again, your budget of the amount of time that you're putting something, the money that you're spending, and the
Yeah.
energy. If it's something you need to, that's how you can see. Do I need to delegate this? Do I need
Yes.
to? Yeah. So, oh,
Yeah, and don't
yes,
feel guilty. Don't
exactly.
feel guilty
Don't.
about delegating. I
No.
used to feel guilty. I'm going, why do I feel guilty? And so many women feel guilty about this. And you just
Right.
kind of go, what do for some weird reason, we all think we're like supposed to be superhumans. Like we're already, you look at the statistics, and we're already doing, our full-time roles, plus all of our
Exactly.
housework and childcare and bits and pieces. Like that is a reality. And we are progressing as a society, but like still, a lot of room to go. So don't be so hard on yourselves. And you'll also find people who, when we assess and monitor your ABCDE, I love that, because we'll have different priorities. So for someone it'll be, they've got to have everything spick and span and blah 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 blah, and someone else will go, what, that's just not my
Right.
priority.
Right.
That's for me. I remember, often, my mum would come over and say, oh, you should have cleaned up your house, and I'm like, going, well, I probably should have, but I went kayaking instead,
There you
because I
go.
obviously loved it more, right? And it's just prioritizing,
Right.
but it's taking the time to know. And then if that does make you feel physically well, healthy, and more, alive, to be able to then spend better quality time on your
Right.
businesses and quality things, then That's right. Outsource the cleaning, you know. If it
Exactly.
doesn't bring you joy, then, you know.
Exactly, exactly. And another thing that I teach my clients is that we need to give ourselves permission to put ourselves first.
Yes.
And with that, and when I say your health, now your health is not just your physical health, it's your spiritual health, your mental health. So your
Yes.
health, your physical, spiritual, mental, but your financial health. So
Yes.
have your ducks in a row. Whether you need to set up some type of retirement plan. Whether you have, and then having an emergency plan, an emergency fund, a vacation fund. Just again, when you have that time to celebrate, you need to have everything ready and available to you. And in a miscellaneous, we all have our budgets that we have for our homes or our businesses and stuff, but do it for yourself too.
Oh,
Do it for
absolutely.
yourself too. and,
You've got
and
to do it for yourself, you
you
know,
know
because that's it. Once you've got that, and it'll give you calm, it'll give you, more confidence. It will give you, security
right.
that, when things go, when you're in a global pandemic now, those who do have work to get that little bit of extra security, it makes a massive difference,
Yes.
And so, yeah, absolutely. What it does too is it reminds us that we do looking after yourself. One, does need to be priority, and two, it does take a little bit of time, but that's time well spent. It is
Exactly.
the best investment. I'll be like, I'm sure many of your viewers, just so, exhausted because you're just giving out, your mum full time, you're working, you're juggling your qualifications, you're doing this, that, whatever, you're helping others, you're volunteering, this crazy. But you kind of go, well, that's really nice. But then, you get the classic, well, when you burn out or when you get sick or when you're not happy, look at the distraction that
Right.
causes, right? And
Exactly.
so it's like, oh my gosh, like it's so important to work out, well, what is your balance, which is what I was saying at the beginning and what you've just referring. Yeah, that's right. What is your emotional, psychological, spiritual, physical balance?
Yes.
What does that take? And that will be different,
Right.
and
And
it's all,
it's different for different individuals too. I,
yeah.
I, I myself, if I look around my house, and if I look around my house, and if something is sitting there undone, it can drive me crazy. So with that, but everybody's different, so it doesn't matter to me whether I do it or I have somebody else do it, but it has to be done for me to have that peace and in my mind to be able to move forward. So I have to know, hey, if I'm not doing it right now, somebody's going to be doing,
Mm.
and but everybody's different with that, and things that will be, again, a roadblock, but again, have that plan of how that's going to get attacked, and it's going to
Yeah,
make all the difference for you.
yeah, yeah,
Well, oh,
for
I
sure.
have some more questions.
Ah.
Okay. Okay, so, and I was unsure of these letters, but how does a clear UVP help us achieve and succeed when times are tough? So UVP.
Yeah, UVP is unique value proposition.
Okay.
So your unique value, so in business, or you could use it personally, but I very much mentor and coach women in business to succeed. And so what is your unique value? If you don't have a clarity on what you actually want to achieve,
Right.
who is your customer? How do you serve them? How do you solve their problem? If you don't have a clarity, like crystal clear clarity around your unique value
Right.
proposition, then you will be struggling big time because there is so much competition. So we need to be very, very narrow. You need to, I find a lot of people lose a lot of time and energy and money just casting the net out way too high, because it's kind of like, the old days of I've got all this product, or I've got, this is what I want to give, so I just want to give it to everybody and everyone could be a potential customer, whereas that's just totally not true.
Right.
And we'll have customers, we'll be like that with our businesses. I mentor women in business and life to achieve their next level, by unlocking those anchored beliefs and helping them get success, balance, and happiness. And they're
Right.
very much attracted to my my style. So I can see those women in a nanosecond, right? Because I know my unique value, because I know who those women are. Because those are the women who've done my program and they love it. And they'll go, oh my God, you changed my life. Other women I'll meet and they'll go, I'm not their cup of tea, right? They don't like my style, or I'm just too girl powery, or whatever it is. Right. And that's actually okay. So I actually go, you're not, I will not solve your problem, and at the end of the day, it's not what we want to give. It's what someone receives. Do we have what they need? Exactly. And so you've got to know 100% what is their problem and how do you solve that problem? And are you the right person to do that?
Right.
To the point that, I'll meet some people sometime and I'll go, oh, I can see what you want. And, the old me, 15 years ago, I'll be like, I can do it. I can do it. I can do everything, right? No, because they will not be satisfied with you and they will not be your dream customer. At the end of the day in business, you actually go, I want you, my happy, blissfully delighted women who are just like skyrocketing their businesses and just feeling fantastic. They'll tell so many people they are my right customer, right?
Exactly.
So it's knowing your unique value proposition. What is it? What do what do you actually have to provide? But the main thing is, who is your customer? What problem do they have? And how do you solve it?
Right.
Very, very clearly. And that works for every business, every single business. Yeah.
Exactly. Oh, fantastic. So I hope everybody that's listening and watching is taking notes here, because it really does make a difference. And then just think about it. If you added, when you are marketing your business and spending that advertising dollar, wouldn't it make sense to have that clear before you start throwing? That's like spraying and praying with business cards. It makes no sense to do that.
It's like doing a letterbox drop. Do you know what I mean? Like, in the old days, it's like, that's right, printing of collateral, dropping them all off. And I go, what's the likelihood? If I'm the local business, so one of my clients is an optometrist, and so for her, she's in the local that area, and so it might work, but there's probably better ways to do it. But for someone else, it's kind of like going, don't waste your money. Whether it's lateral, whether it's social, even how much time and energy. I'll get some people so distressed going, oh, it takes me so long to do social on like 5 different platforms. I go, well, are your customers on those 5 platforms? Where are they? And is the message you're writing, is that actually giving them some value? What is it, encouraging them? Is it connecting them to you? And then, if it's not, it's like, don't even do it. It's better to do less. Less is definitely more, but do it in the right areas. Exactly. For example, I'll know that, I'll spend more money on preparing, to speak at an event, because if I speak at an event, then, the people will then suddenly come and buy my book. They'll be interested they'll go, oh, I want to know more about Annie. They'll come and say, how do I do your program? Exactly. Well, that's way better value than putting Instagram posts up every day, and because we've only got so many hours in the day.
Exactly.
Or you get your business to a level and go, that is my 2nd or 3rd level down, and now I've got enough revenue and I'll get someone to help me do that.
Exactly. Exactly.
So it's knowing where do you spend your time and your energy to get the revenue. And also, if you're a new business, if you're like a nano business and you're not sort of making more than, say, 2K a month or something, and you have to do it all yourself, you want to spend your whole focus time on actually getting revenue in, right? That is your number one priority. So you don't have all this extra time. As your business grows slowly, chip away, then you can suddenly go, oh, okay, now I'll try some more. I'll outsource some more. I'll trial and error, look at the data, and you can build in that way. You don't have to.
Exactly. And, exposure for your business, exposure equals revenue. And you don't necessarily need all of those, spending time. It eats up your time. It eats up your time.
Well, a lot of it is busy.
Yeah,
right?
Busy work. Right.
Busy is just the death of us. Like, you don't have to be busy. You have to be strategic. You have to be focused. You have to be purposeful. So my favorite word is intent. I intentionally choose to act, spend my time, my energy, my money intentionally on certain things. For you, you're going to be putting it in your planner. You're going to be choosing what you do, and I'll assess and measure them. If it's not random, it's not.
No,
Otherwise, I'm just busy and busy.
exactly.
Well, what's the return of investment on that? You're just exhausted. We don't want to be
Exactly.
exhausted. Yeah.
Exactly. Oh, we are two peas in a pod. We are two peas in a pod. There. So the next question is, how do we build the confidence that we need to build that our successful business in life?
Mm. We build confidence by slowly extending our boundaries and just trying and learning from our experience. So some of us have got naturally confident personalities and others are more shy, and we've got to work with what we've got. Saying that, we can all develop more confidence,
Yeah.
right? And so one of the biggest problems is everyone's all into just, launch out of your comfort zone. What that actually does is it freaks people out, right?
Some people it really does.
Some people, right? So I'm the opposite. I'm like the type A. I'll jump out of a plane. I'll do all this, that, because I don't care, right? So I've obviously got a very big confidence.
Right.
But that's not the norm. The norm is that people have got layers and barriers, and they're self-protective mechanisms that are driven from possible childhood fears and other things that have been said on them. We won't go too deep, but they're there and they're real. Exactly. And so when they extend themselves too much and someone goes, give it a go, it'll be fun, and it's not, the confidence reduces, the boundaries go tighter, right? Mm-hmm. And so that's a negative. So with all of my coaching, it's all about saying, okay, well, what's the one step, that try and improve yourself a 1% per day kind of model. It's like, well, what's one little step that's going to push that comfort zone, and you're just going to push it out a little bit. And then if you actually do that, then you'll get that confidence developing, because we assess and monitor, how did you feel? What did it do to your body? What happened when your heart raced, or you tried something new or whatever? And we talk it through, and you actually go, oh yeah, well, the world didn't fall down. We tried, or felt very uncomfortable. Okay, well, how about we work out better ways? So for me, it's all about saying you actually get further by doing the baby steps than the big leaps, unless you're a big leap person, and then you can definitely be one of my elite clients. But also to realize they're not the norm. Exactly. They aren't the norm, and you don't want to be comparing yourself against them. Many of them have done lots of practice, trial and error. You don't suddenly go speaking at massive events. How did I do that? Well, I've spoken a lot of things, and originally I was like, get a bit nervous, and now it's like, oh my gosh, give me a microphone, because it's practice. It's practice will make it permanent. Practice, people say practice makes perfect. It actually doesn't. No. It can just mean that you do something bad. But you want to actually practice, but you want to assess and monitor, and then learn and go, okay, well, I've had a go. How can I do it better? And this works for all areas of your life. This has helped me climb mountains. It's helped me grow my business. It's helped me get corporate roles, get onto boards, because I just went and said, okay, well, I'll try, get a curious mindset. Just go, okay, well, what would happen if I tried that? Oh, wow, that was good. What did I do? Now I'll try something else. And talk it through with someone who's on your side. Yes. You've got to get yourself into a Thrive tribe, right? You need to be surrounded by people who are on your side, not the naysayers, anchors. You just go surround yourself. That famous saying, you are the sum of the 5 people that you spend the most time with.
Exactly.
So true.
Exactly.
Surround yourself with people who go, you go, girl, you can do it. And you're like, okay, I will, right? Because sometimes we need that little shove. We don't need a whack and you're over a cliff and you're like, I'm never, ever, ever, ever doing that again.
Right.
You actually want to go, I needed that shove and I felt your support.
Exactly.
And that's what it's about,
exactly. Well, Amy, this is so again, we are two peas in a pod. So when you said about your Thrive Tribe, I actually have a peer-to-peer mentoring and accountability membership program where I have groups of 5, and I say groups of 5. With groups of 5, dreams stay alive.
Yes.
We have, and so in these peer-to-peer mentoring and accountability program groups, it is your own group of personal cheerleaders.
Yeah.
Everyone can come from a different genre, and they can be from all over the world, but in these groups they become so close knit. They want to be there for one another
Yes.
through the trials and tribulations, and they're those other eyes and ears to listen if you're having a struggle, to give a different recommendation, maybe something. It's invaluable to have those people that have your back. And that you may never have met these people before in your life physically, because we may not be surrounded by people in our family and close circle that understand exactly what our mission is. But when you have these people that they're on their mission, but you're there to support them too. You show up for them every week to just listen and get their feedback for yourself upon your journey, but also to listen for them and say, hey, you know what, if you struggle with this, maybe try this, maybe change this out or whatever. And it
Yeah.
is so it's amazing. I can't even say
Oh,
enough about what that does. And people years ago wouldn't have been as open to sharing their struggles. This is, you're sharing, you're being deep down honest, because
no.
without doing that you're not going to be able to move forward.
Yeah.
We have to share. So yeah, so I just had to say, when you said have that Thrive Tribe, by all
Oh,
means, it is something
yeah.
that is, I strongly recommend it. That's, I know, because I needed that for myself. And that is why I said, you know what, with my whole platform, with what I do, it wouldn't be complete without having something like this.
So true. I just, yeah, exactly. Because my course is Magic Transformation, I've got a Magic Tribe.
Right.
It's exactly the same. And when you don't realize what you're missing until you suddenly in it, you're just like, oh my gosh, like that's right. It's that sense of community, people back, you got your back. That's right. That you don't always have to be the one showing. You learn so much from other people.
Yes.
You learn from their way of thinking, their skill set that you share. It's just invaluable.
Right.
It's
and
so,
and coming
so
and
great.
and
It's like,
coming from, right, but coming from even different genres of what they do with
oh, often
and
that's
it
the best
is
bit,
exactly,
because that's
exactly.
that's it. It's like, oh my gosh, like you learn so much about people or the way they think. And these are, that's right. It grows you, extends you, it makes you subtly validate your, why do you think this way? Or, I just think it makes you such a better human being,
Yes.
and particularly because it's like for me, I use those words, you call it a cheerleader. I'm like the perfect blend between accountability partner and cheerleader,
Right.
right? Like going, you said you want to do that. We
Yep.
believe in you. We're backing you. But come on now,
Right. And
what's causing that? And then it's like, yeah, you can do it. You can do it. And that I think if you get that balance right,
right.
that
And so I call it the mentorship and accountability part,
yeah,
and it's kind of like that perfect blend of the two.
yeah.
So
Also,
wonderful.
people are, it depends what their support systems are like, but often, you can get good families and bad
Right,
families. So you
right.
can get families who go and say, you're amazing all the time, but you actually need to hear some hard truths.
Exactly,
Or
exactly.
you get the ones that go, you'll never make anything, and they're not healthy for you, or different friends groups, whatever. Whereas you suddenly find your tribe, and that's why shop around, look for the right blend for you. It's got to be that right fit. You suddenly go, oh my gosh, like one, you're so different, but you're all so good for me. Like it's so fascinating. It's hard to even articulate, but
Yes.
it's like you've done this room going, I never would have picked all of you people.
Right. Right.
But oh my gosh, I can't imagine not having you in my life,
Right.
because we're all there for the right reason to, grow
Exactly.
ourselves, support each other, achieve your next level. I'm a peak performance coach. So I just go, what's your next level? And it doesn't matter what that is. There is no
Right.
competition in the tribe, right?
And
It's
there's
just
there's there's no,
you to get your next level. And that's all that matters.
right.
You know, then it's like,
Exactly.
woo, and then
Yep.
there'll be another level, and there'll be another level.
Right. And there always is. And for people to realize, there's always more that you can have. There's always more that you can do. There's more that you can achieve, but it has to come from within you. and that's what
That
it's
is
all about.
golden.
Yep.
And in fact, you're wasting your time and your money. I have to be truthful.
Right.
If it's not for you, if you're doing something for someone else, you'll just go through the motions, but you won't put that whole purpose and passion into it. Right?
Exactly.
You'll
Exactly.
always, oh, okay, that's a good idea. I'll try, give 3 months. Nah, they're not going to.
Well, you know,
But at that moment, you go, I want this. I know deep down I really want it. And
right.
then you just,
Right.
yeah.
And so Amy, that's why I've had some parents hire me to work with their children to
Mm,
as young as middle school and in high school so that they could get to know and understand themselves and what they wanted out of life so they would be more um, taking high school more seriously, using that time more effectively to prepare for what they wanted if they wanted to go on to college. Because there's so many people out there that had just what you were just talking about. They thought they wanted to go. They were, oh, you got to go to college, and so they went and they, here they are, you know, 6 figures or more in college student loan debt, and they can't get a job in that field, or they have it for a year and hate it. you know
yeah.
um I just if I can
No.
keep people from having to have that experience and everything, I, if you know what you really want and what you're going to work towards, that can save so much time and money.
Oh, so much,
Yeah.
so much. And
Yeah.
even if you don't have it, you don't have the 100% goal. Like
Right.
sometimes, particularly those younger ones that, you might not know the exact outcome, but
Right.
at least knowing, well, what's the path, or what are the stepping stones, or what makes you happy, then you will find your way in there, because there's many little roads and forks that you can go in.
Exactly.
So it's not going to be an epic fail,
Right.
in
Right.
many ways. So sometimes, yep, I totally know I want to be a lawyer, or I
Oh,
want to be
right.
a
Right. No. And
musician or whatever. And then other times you go, I don't know, but I kind of just love art, or I'm a creative person, or this or that. It's exploring those sorts of things and then trying to build and get to know yourself more and more. Then that will then help you on your journey. You will find that place. All of a sudden it's like, oh, and that might happen straight up, or it might actually happen, 3 years, 6 years, 10 years later, but you go, but that journey was necessary, you know,
exactly.
and that's
Exactly.
just as important, because then it's not a waste. It's actually going, oh, I had that time, and that took me to this destination.
Exactly. Exactly.
Mhm.
And there's no way you can expect a child in middle school or high school to know where they want to be when they grow up.
Sure.
We and you and I both know that we know adults that still don't know and
Oh,
haven't
so
figured that out yet. So, but
and
but
also in a different climate, now you don't have a career for life.
right,
That concept that people are changing their jobs, unfortunately more at the moment, but generally every 3 to 5 years,
exactly,
that life is lifelong learning now, and lifelong changes. And so therefore, even my journey, which is quite unusual, but it's still, went from nursing to nurse educator to business, but I'm a health educationalist CEO now, and then I transform businesses in this space and sector. So that's kind of like, it sort of seems disconnected, but it still has become a career that I totally love. And so it's not as if you now go, I'll do one job. My dad was a pharmacist, and he became a shop assistant delivery guy at 16, and he still owned
right,
the same pharmacy when he
yeah,
retired. Those days are very, very rare. So you don't
exactly,
have to pick this one thing. In
exactly.
fact, life's a lot more interesting if you have a bit more
Right,
variety.
exactly, exactly.
you
And
know,
and we are all who we are today because we have experienced in the past.
yes.
And so that has to do with your whole life's journey. And what I say is, our life's journey, we don't know what I say our lives are like a jigsaw puzzle. When we're born, it's just dumped out in front of us. We don't know what the picture on that box is going to look like at the end. And actually, by the time we're there, it's more of like a collage of everything that we've experienced. All those, how all those pieces fit together. and
Yeah.
really thinking about that. So I mean, that's exciting. So people, I don't want people to feel intimidated about that. I want you to just, think of just the possibilities, and
Yeah.
that's what it's all about, is the
Yeah.
possibilities. Fantastic. So, and that brings me to this. So Annie, what does freedom feel like, and how does that result in sustained power?
Oh, freedom just feels like you have so much energy and lack of weight. Freedom to me means that I can just look for opportunities, that I'm not weighed down by things that are going to limit me. I can actually go, oh, I've got choice. I've got opportunity. I've got enthusiasm. I've got excitement. I've got curiosity.
Yes.
I've got all these wonderful descriptors of going, wow, what is next and where could it go on my journey? And so we're big on the vision board of what that looks like big, but we've also got our stepping stone goals. And so freedom to me goes, oh, it's like I can breathe. I feel calm. I feel balanced. And I'm super excited and
Yes.
leaning forward,
Yes.
to be able to achieve whatever is next,
Right.
and also if I get some little, particularly in the current times, if I get some sort of knocks in certain areas, and I still go, okay, well, while I'm here, I'll, for me, during COVID, I've written a book, for
Right.
example. It's like, well, while some other things, I can't be speaking in events and bits and pieces. So it's like, well, where is an opportunity? It's still on the same path.
Right.
So that's freedom. Freedom gives you choices, and it gives you that, the lack of constraints. I just think that is so beautiful.
Exactly.
And when we're free, we can actually go, yeah, a freedom allows me to then move forward intentionally in the
Exactly.
areas that I want to go.
Exactly. Again, we 100% align. I totally, say that. And something that you would, had said during this, when you were, saying that giving us that freedom, again, going back to having the organization. I know everything seems, and everything that we've talked about, everything all goes back to creating that plan and taking
Yeah.
that time, because you don't get from point A to point B. Having that all together, putting the work and effort into putting those pieces together, and how those stepping stones, those milestones, you can almost see it. But you said about the vision board, and I strongly suggest that for everyone. I teach clients. I kind of go even deeper with that, because I teach sensory vision. I want people to be able to close their eyes and feel like have already achieved. What does
Yeah.
it look like? What does it feel like, both physically and emotionally? Make those connections of, what does it look like, feel like, smell like, taste like, sound like, all of those things, the difference of that, because that being able to close your eyes and having that feeling, when you come across those tough times, which you will, I promise, and
Mm.
it's going to happen. You're going to come across some struggles, and you're going to, what am I doing? Why am I putting myself through this? It's going to happen. But when you can really take that vision board, but put it in 3D, 4D for yourself,
That.
really feel that is going to help sustain you. And this is just putting all those pieces together of what we've talked about through today, is, putting all those pieces to work for you, and
Yeah.
you will be able to achieve.
Yeah, because yeah, so beautifully said. I love that. Like that's what all, you listen to interviews with like say Olympians, and not many of us are going to be Olympians, but you listen to their language, and they'll usually come out with something exactly what you've just
Yeah.
said, Patricia. They'll go, I have dreamt of this moment for the last 4 years. I have visualized, if you're an aerial skier, I've
Right.
visualized those flips and those this. They've imagined, that excitement on the, getting the medal. They're, they can smell it, they can feel it, they can,
Yes.
the whole moment, because that is the drive. That's right. Even when they have an injury and they've now broken their thing, they'll still lie there and go, no, I can see it. I
Right.
can visualize it. And so it becomes a default, and even with my clients, I'm like going, well, flick onto your phone. What's your screensaver? It should be something that resembles nice and clear. I don't want any apps on it. It should be a clear picture of something from your vision.
Exactly.
The same as your desktop. Get rid of all of that clutter. Put one file that says desktop, put all the rubbish in it, and then look at it, because it's what we put into our mind that that we take on subconsciously.
Exactly.
And so you'll then go, oh, that's right. Every time it pops on, I'm thinking, yeah, I need to stay focused there. And so for me, it's like, I think some people think, oh, well, I've got to have this vision board, like it's just a pin board and that's it. So I'm like, no way. I want my whole house to represent my vision board, right? It should have, or even my office space. I think it should have tokens of all of the things that are components of, because therefore you live and breathe it.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. Yes.
You don't have to tell yourself it. You just go, it just is.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. So that's my life. It's just not, I'm not there yet. That's what it's going to be. It's just the timing hasn't happened yet.
Yeah,
Yeah,
100%.
that's the only thing is have it be that real for yourself. And so and on top of that, so I really work with help people, because that's something a lot of people have a difficult time doing, is having that vision and really taking that in, and feeling it.
Oh, they do.
Yeah.
And they also then project that onto other people. I've spent, my whole life, every time I've gone to a next step, I've had people going, oh, you won't get it. And then two, when you get it, they'll be surprised and go, well, you better be happy there, because that's, the best you're going to get. And you kind of go, well, that's really interesting, because that's their view.
That's their view. Exactly. That's
go,
their window. That's their window of don't.
Whereas I'm like, no, I must have that Olympian mindset, because I'm like going, no, even, I knew I'd love being a businesswoman. And I'm like, even after I had my twins, and then even I had the second set of twins, I'm like, oh, this is getting really challenging. But I still went, okay, stepping stones. I could see it. I could feel it. I knew that, that I'm like, I want to be that woman who has these opportunities, I imagined it. And I didn't, possibly not in my exact office, in my exact industry, or my exact way, but it's enough that you go, yep, every single decision then takes you closer to that goal.
Exactly. And I applaud that, Amy. And I really, and I do. And I do that with my clients. Another thing, and I will share this too, because I hope our viewers and listeners, is create a mantra for yourself that you repeat to yourself. That's again, adding that to that vision, knowing your why, your purpose. But when you can connect all of these things, nothing can stand in your way. And having that mantra that you repeat to yourself, and you can do it looking in a mirror. And really, know it. And sometimes that's hard to look at in a mirror and tell yourself positive things about yourself, or about what you see for your future. Because again, that comes back to, what is it we were saying? You have to believe. You have to get that belief in yourself, and that you are worthy and you are capable. But once you get that, there's nothing that can stand in your way. There is, there's nothing, So live your life with as few could have, should have, and would have moments. And you can go for the whatever it is you want. Yeah.
100%.
Oh, yep. Again, two peas in a pod, just the other sides of the world.
That's right.
Fantastic. So I've been so blessed to meet you, Amy, because again, other than this, I don't know if we ever would have crossed paths, maybe out on stages talking one day or whatever, but because we are so in different areas of the world. So
yeah, that's right. And that's right. The world, we're in a global environment. I've got a podcast called Memoirs of Successful Women. And I think the last 8 have been with women in the States. It's
Yeah.
like, it doesn't matter. And I had one in Milan, Italy, and all over the world. And it's kind of like, yeah, that's right. It's really exciting, actually. I love it. I
Yes.
love this part of my
And
life.
it
I think
is.
you get to meet all these different people. Some of them are in the similar industry, and I'm like, well, you go, girl. Like, I
Yeah.
have a view that there's always enough business for everybody. And so
Exactly.
you're not competitors. You just collaborate and you learn off each other and you share and you just develop these networks and relationships,
Ex-
because we're having that same sort of tribe concept, aren't we?
right.
We do with our clients, and then we're actually living it ourselves, because it's really interesting sharing. I'll find this show really encouraging to go,
Right.
yeah, other lady
Exactly.
Patricia doing the same sort of thing, and
Right.
it's really good.
Right.
It's
Well, because we know we're doing the right thing. We know
yeah,
we're empowering women to you know reach their full potential, reach for whatever it is that they want to move forward towards. And so hey, I it's just like somebody firefighters or whatever it is, they're fighting for a cause. They're
yeah.
fighting to make something better, and so are we. So are we. So wonderful. Happy to meet you and have you on the show. And again,
Thank you.
for our viewers and listeners, I hope that we touched your heart, your mind, your soul in some way to help you be able to move forward towards achieving your dreams and goals, because that's what it's all about. And both Annie and I would love to see um, hear your success stories.
Yes.
Whether you come to us, either one of us or someone else, it's all about being able to move forward. It really
Yeah.
is. Well, thank you again. So Annie, what do you have for a gift? I thought you had something, so I want you to be able to share it with our viewers.
I have a couple of things to share with your viewers. First of all, I've got a biography that's just come out. It's called Becoming Annie. So go to Amazon, the biography of a curious woman, because we've talked a lot about
Yes.
curiosity. So just go and search that on Amazon. It's on ebook and paperback, and it's coming out in audiobook very soon. So that's really exciting to share my journey. And then also, if you go to my website, which is Annie Gibbins, ANNIEGIBBINS.com, you will then go and get some free stuff. I've got free ebooks on self-care and mindset, success planners, calendars, affirmations. I've got quite a nice little goodie bag there for you. So just go and help yourself, and make yourself familiar. And then hopefully, if you're interested in my coaching, just reach out. I'd love to have you join my Magic Transformation Program or tribe, or Patricia's. Anyone, you just want to make sure that you resonate with them, so find what you're looking for, and then just follow that path, and the right
Yes.
person will be there for you.
Yes. Oh, yes. I 100% agree. So thank you for being with us for this episode. If you want to find out more about me, it's patriciajogrover.com. And to find out more on my social media, it's www.pjg.thecardinfo.com. That's all my social media. And to be booked as a guest on my show, you can go right there. And I have gifts for everybody that were viewers and listeners for this episode too. It's coming up in a video right behind us. And until next time, we turn believers into achievers. Thanks for being with us.